Welcome to my channel. I am so excited about today's project. It is a pirate reef. This is perfect for the Halloween season. Would also make a great addition to a party decor, a pirate theme, and also, if you're like me, would make a great team spirit reef. So stay tuned. Welcome back. If you would you subscribe to my channel, please? It would really help me out, and if you want to be notified of future videos, hit the bell button and YouTube will send you a notification that I have another video up. Also, if you do like this particular video, at the end, give me a thumbs up, because that will help me out in knowing what types of videos to make in the future. So now let's get started. Let us go through the supplies that you're going to need to make this reef. And by the way, most of the supplies came from the Dollar Tree. I think I did, with tax, I spent less than $20 out of pocket to make this reef. I also had a few items that I just happen to have on hand, and I will include those as well.
The supplies that you will need for this particular project are 10 rolls of mesh ribbon in 2 colors, 5 rolls of each color. I also used a bag of mesh tubing. That is optional, but it made a great filler. 2 swords or sabers, a wire reef form. I used black green wool work and an optional pirate playset. You will need a mask of some sort as well. In addition, you will need pipe cleaners. I used 25 black and a 17 orange. Some other items I happen to have on hand were florist wire, craft scissors, high temp glue guns, high temp glue sticks. Low temp, by the way, will not work with this project. Needle nose pliers with wire cutters and clothespins. You will also need something to help with cutting and measuring. I just happen to have this quilter's mat and also something to make small holes with, a drill, an owl. I used an ice pick and a hammer. Now you're going to want to cut the ribbons in 8-inch sections. You will need a total of 3 to make 1 bundle. Now how I did that is I used my quilt cutter or quilt cutting mat because I love the way the measurements are and it goes so much faster. I also unwrapped several rolls of ribbon and stacked them as it makes it go faster. For demonstration purposes, I only used 2. Of course, 2 is a little easier than 5. But you want to start off, I am a sewer, so I like to start off with a straight edge, and here I am clipping it off to give myself a straight edge. You can use rotary cutters as well. I've seen that done. I don't want to run my blades on my rotary cutter, so I just use an old pair of craft scissors. My strips are 8 inches and I mark my measurement. And one thing that is neat about using a quilter's mat is you have your 8 inches, and without unrolling you can go down to 16 and make another cut. And it does save just a little bit of time. This is good TV watching busy work. To begin rolling your ribbon into bundles, just separate them out, take one piece. They do fray on the end, which I think adds character to the reef, but lightly roll it like you see here, and then clip it with a clothespin to keep it secure. You want to roll them lightly, because if you roll them too tight, it becomes difficult to bundle them when you start adding the pipe cleaner. And also it takes a lot longer to roll them if you roll them tight. It takes nearly twice as long. You're going to need you're going to need 99 pieces cut of the black and 99 pieces cut of the orange. You are going to need 99 pieces of orange ribbon and 99 pieces of black ribbon. They will make 33 bundles each, a total of 66 ribbon bundles for this particular reef. You might could get away with 6-inch cuts. I have mine at 8 inches. It makes it just really plush, but you use less ribbon if you use 6. You roll it and you stack it, and then you remove the clothespin and then clip it back on, and this will keep your bundles secure, or your rolled ribbon secure, until you are ready to bundle them, as you see in this picture right here. Really easy to do, and TV watching busy work. These bundles are not hard to do. I cut the craft sticks in half, also known as pipe cleaners. I use both terms, using craft scissors, and I usually bundle those as well. When I will cut 5 at a time. Pointing the fray side of the bundle towards you, where the twisted end will be at the frayed side. I hope you can tell what I'm doing here. And then you just cinch it with your fingers, like I have in my left hand, and you twist with your right hand, or if you're left-handed, switch that, but cinch it up really tight like you see here. And then when you are through, it will be like a little orange flower or a black flower. It's really nice, the bundles. Then you want to take your wire reef and make sure you remove all the tags. And for our purposes here, oh, by the way, you will want all of your magic of video here. You will want all of your bundles made up before you start attaching them to the wire reef. And you start with the top section and the second outer ring. There are 4 rings there. You want the second to the outside. And we put 2 black, 2 orange, 3 black, 2 orange, and 2 black in the first section. The second section, we're going to start with 2 orange, 2 black, 3 orange, 2 black, and 2 orange, and then we will keep alternating that through the rest of the sections until we are through. Here I am starting off with a black, and it's easier to put it in through the front and then twist it, and I hope you can see as I move things around. I'm doing a voiceover, by the way, because I didn't like how I narrated it as I went along. So you're going to insert the pipe cleaner portion of the bundle in through the front to the back, and then give it a good twist. I twist 3 or 4 times in order to make sure it's nice, tight, and secure onto my ring. It's also a good idea to tuck those ends down so that they don't scratch your door, your wall, or whatever you use. And then we're ready to get started on the second color. This is really just a good way, a good method of doing these wire reefs with the mesh ribbon using any color scheme for any time of the year. This is also very good TV watching busy work. I am almost through with the first section and now getting ready to start on the second section. Here we have two sections completed. We started out with the first section being 2 black, 2 orange, 3 black, 2 orange, 2 black. The second section, 2 orange, 2 black, 3 orange, 2 black, and 2 orange. Now it's time to get started on the other 4 sections, and we will repeat that color pattern 2 more times. As you see here, the reef is almost complete. In fact, this looks good as it is. It is nice and plush with a slight fraying, which I think adds character. And now we are ready to move on with the next stage, which will be to add a mask and swords. You first want to remove all the tags. I used matching swords in this one. The first one I made, I used a silver sword and a bronze sword. But after you remove all the tags, you then want to get rid of this piece of elastic on the mask. And it's easiest just to cut it off. Next, you want to make 2 holes, one on each side of the mask, right next to the hole that was left by the elastic. So I use an owl, a stiletto, a drill. In my case, I used an ice pick and a hammer, and if that's what you have, just go ahead. It only takes a light tap, and you want a small hole, not a very big one. We are then going to want to position the swords. I like to get the reef out. There's some writing on top of the sword, so you want that underneath on the bottom, even though the mask is going to completely cover it up. And just put it together like this and make sure you like how you've got it positioned, how the swords are lined up with the way you have the bundles arranged on the reef. That way you will be happy with it. You're going to take some hot glue gun and be very careful when you're working with plastic. The plastic gets hot, the plastic is cheap, and we don't want to melt it, but we want it to be secure. And then we're going to take a piece of floral wire. Mine is very small gauge, so I doubled it up, and we're going to wrap it around and crisscross. This is just going to give it an extra measure of security, so that if a child decides to hang from it, no, not really, that hopefully will not happen, but we want it to be just extra secure. And then I tuck those ends under. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. Your wire is, that is. Now we're going to open up the pirate playset and take out the eye patch. The funny thing about craft scissors, or old craft scissors, is they don't cut very well, but that's why I use them for crafts. And we're going to take the eye patch and lightly tack it with a glue gun to the mask. I did not do that on the first one that I made, that I'm keeping for myself, but it didn't seem to be a problem. It seems to hold secure on its own. But I thought for this one I would go ahead and just lightly tack it with the hot glue gun. I want to make sure it is in the spot exactly like I want it to stay, and then when it's hardened I will go ahead and attach it to the sword. Here I am cutting 4 pieces of floral wire. This is a fine gauge. I like to double it like you would sewing thread sometimes. And I'm going to thread it through the first 2 holes on the sides. Remember, one hole was from the elastic, the other one I made with the ice pick. And I'm going to do that on both sides and secure it to the sword. And I'll show you how to do this in fast forward motion. Once we get it positioned well, and it's really easy to position because you've got the tops of those swords and you just butt the top of the mask right up to the bottom of the sword handles, and it works perfect. Now I'm going to thread the wire through and secure it. This is a little taxing. It takes a few minutes to do, but trust me, you will be so glad you did it this way. I believe this whole thing will hold together very well with some hot glue, but I want to use it more than one season. And if I use floral wire, I can make it so much more secure. It is tight enough that it doesn't move. The finished product just does not move. Very secure. Clip off the ends and then just weave them in or thread them in so that you don't have any ends of wire sticking out, because that can scratch your walls, scratch your door, scratch your fingers. And that is nice and secure. Next, we're going to take some more floral wire and this time secure the sword and mask combination to the actual reef. There are holes at the top of the mask used to secure the store tags to, and I'm going to weave or thread the wire into there. At this point, I wish I had just twisted it a little bit. I didn't, but it works either way, but it would be less ruly had I just given it a quick twist. Once I got it positioned the way I wanted it positioned. As you see there, and this video is just a tad bit fuzzy, sorry about that, but I'm going to turn the mask and the reef upside down, and this is a little close right here, but you'll have a better view in just a few seconds. I'm going to pull the wire through and attach it to the section dividers from that very top section of the reef, and give it a good twist. And I want to make sure that it's going to be secure before I move on. I'm going to attach the sides as well to the sides of the reef, and I'm going to do that from the wires of where I secured the swords together. We are going to take 2 additional wires and thread them through, give them a good twist, and then attach them to the inner ring of the reef. There you can see it. Now there was a little movement in the sword and the mask, and I don't like any movement, so I went back, untwisted everything, and retwisted it, giving it a very snug fit. And clip all of the wires and turn them in. Now I am redoing the eye patch, but now we have the finished product. Again, it's a little bit loose for my taste, so we're going to go back in and tighten it just a tad more, this time from the top instead of the sides. And I believe once retightening it, it will be very secure and ready to move on to the next phase, which is adding the tubular mesh. The tubular mesh is really easy to cut, very quick. But here we've got this wire twisted nice and snug, and when I turn it over and give it a good tug, you will see that the mask and the swords will not be moving. Yes. By the way, this reef is for sale on my Etsy shop. I have the link listed in the description. Looks like I've got a extra bundle, orange bundle, attached to that it attaches itself like Velcro, but it's not destructive like Velcro, fortunately. Now what we're going to do is show you briefly how to make the tubular bundles. This gave an effect of dreadlocks, and I used half sticks of the pipe cleaners, the black pipe cleaners. I cut them 9 inches. If you remember, the ribbon is cut 8 inches. These are cut 9 inches because I wanted them to protrude somewhat from the reef. One package made about 16 bundles, and I'm going to show you first inserting them from the front, and I twisted them. I attached the pipe cleaner to the inside circle ring of the reef. This fills up the holes that are along the sides of the reef and at the top and at the bottom. It covers the wires that you can see if you didn't do that. In fact, the eye socket that does not, on the mask that does not have an eye patch over it, you can also see a little piece of wire. But I look at it this way: if people are going to point that out, they are looking way too close. I used to smock my daughter's clothes, and I would get picky about a stitch and take it all out. And a friend of mine said, if someone can see that little error on a galloping child wearing that dress, they are looking way too close at your child. But I'm just showing you to give an idea, showing you this to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. Now those bundles are shorter, but we're going to put it on the inside ring. And it's better to insert it from the front to the back. Give it a good twist because you want it there to stay. With the pipe cleaners, you also want to tuck them in. I tuck them all into one direction, and that way you don't have any pokies or stickies or anything to scratch your walls or door. Now we have the finished product, and see how the tubular bundles just give it just an extra touch and give it the look of Jack Sparrow dreadlocks. I like it. I love this finished product. I added a hanger to the very back so that it will hang easily from a reef stand or your door or a door hanger. Now we're going to put the rest of the pirate playset onto the reef, and you want to place them around so you get an idea of how they're going to look. I prefer to put them on the black items or the black ribbon because it stands out more, but I did put one on the orange and it looked really good. These doubloons from the Dollar Tree do have images, so you need to make sure they're upright, and there we have it. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up so I will know to make more like this. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.